Congratulations! On behalf of this university's faculty, staff, students, and alumni, we are delighted to inform you that you have been accepted.
Some of us spend years dreaming to hear these words, to read them off of a letter or a screen, and feel a sense of accomplishment. We pour endless hours towards this goal, studying, training, writing, anything to be accepted. In the end, the university you go to does not determine your worth. Rather, all of the effort you have spent and enjoyment you have reaped for the 17 or 18 years leading up to that point make you who you are. But in an attempt to make the college application process less intimidating, some senior staffers at Point of View will be sharing their knowledge and experiences on the process. We're your hosts, Rachel
And Grace.
And this episode is Junior Year, part 1 of a 2-episode series on the college application process.
Hi, I'm Grace, and I'm a senior at Northview. I'll be graduating in the year of 2023.
And I'm also a senior, and I'm Rachel, and I will also be graduating in 2023. Even before junior year, there are opportunities to get started on looking forward to college in your freshman and sophomore year, and whether that's like specializing into classes or really exploring those opportunities.
Yeah, I would say if you already have an idea of like what career or major you want to pursue, you can really reflect that in your schedule. Of course, if you don't have an idea, that's fine too. I would just say to explore what you're interested in. So I would recommend like choosing classes that are similar to your interests. Like, for example, I chose to not take AP Chem because I'm really bad at chemistry, but if you're interested into chemistry and the sciences, then you can choose to take like AP Chem after your honors chem or after your on-level chem class. So just really specialize in those topics you think you're interested in, because then that appeals to admissions officers because they know what you're interested in and that you pursue it. And it also just helps you explore what you like.
Another thing is that if you don't know what you want to do, a lot of it is like exploring possible things that you might want to do, whether that be like in club fair, you can sign up for different clubs, or maybe take a risk on a class that you're like, oh, maybe I'll like this, maybe I won't. Just really take this time in high school to explore what you might be interested in, also because you're not wasting tuition money on being like, let me spend a semester on this. Oh, wait, that was a couple $1,000s down the drain. Oh, great. And then we'll transition into maybe like our actual junior year, start thinking about the actual colleges that you want to go to. What's your situation like? Kind of some tuition fees. What location would you want to go to? If you like cold weather, go up north. If you like southern weather, stay down in the hot sun.
Yeah, and if you have sort of an idea of the university you want to go to, you can even sort of research like about what AP credits they take, or maybe like what dual enrollment classes you can transfer and add that into your schedule so you can like get a head start, pay less tuition money by transferring AP credits.
And also make sure that you meet all the requirements in like from schools. Like I was applying junior year, or I was looking at schools junior year, and I was like, oh, I need a fine arts credit. I don't have a fine arts credit. So that gave me the opportunity to check senior year and be like, oh, I have space in my schedule for another fine arts credit. And that could tie into like just throughout your high school career, not just junior year, of checking those prerequisites to apply to college. And most colleges, it's pretty standard. That's what I found.
Yeah, usually the requirements will match like the Georgia graduation requirements, but what really got me is, especially in the UC system, they require a fine arts credit to even be accepted. So after you sort of talk to your parents about stuff, or like even just consider like your own opinion on location and demographic and what kind of people and places you want to be around, especially like urban or rural areas, because that should be a part of your thought process. I think you should also start to go on college visits if you have the time and the resources to go, because it's nice just knowing, like, just being there in person just to see where you would be.
I really found that going on college visits, I mean, even junior year or sophomore year, is really nice because you can take those official campus tours. And I think I went touring somewhere and they gave me like a curriculum map that I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I pulled it out of my like folder the other day and was like, oh, I actually really, really needed this in order to compare the programs at different places.
Yeah, and being there physically can get you an idea of like how are you gonna go about the campus? Are you gonna walk? Are you gonna bike? Like, is there a train system? And it also gives you an idea of like the life around the campus. Is it just like more of a college town where it's just like it's only popular because the university's there, or is it like a more urban area where you can like go out to more places?
And that's something that like no one can really determine for you. So when you're looking at these colleges, definitely be sure to think about, am I a big city person? Do I really like socializing, or do I like having a small environment? And then once you start kind of researching and going on visits, if you know the program that you want to go into, start comparing those to other colleges. A good way to search these up is kind of just look up university name undergraduate or university name admissions, and that way you can really start learning about those programs. And if you don't know what you want to do, just look at the programs that they offer and think, well, what's the quality of this program? What's the quality of that program? Like, how is this school overall for all the things that I think I might want?
Yeah, so usually colleges have a specific website for people who are applying, and it'll usually tell you what their academics are like, so what majors they offer, and it'll also tell you what their like campus life is like, what kind of clubs and extracurriculars they offer. So I found those really useful when I was researching schools, and that's also a really good way to write your why us essays.
Oh, I didn't have to write any of those. I was lucky.
And so when you're looking at universities, when you're choosing which ones you want to apply to, most people have this sort of structure of having safety, target, and reach schools. So I think it depends on like which website you use or which person you ask, but I would say mostly safety schools are schools that have like, you have like a pretty decent chance of getting into, like 60% acceptance rate. And meanwhile, target is like maybe something that like fits you but is still a little iffy on if you get in. And then reach is like maybe like a 15% chance of getting in, like something that's like that like you think you might have a chance at. It might be kind of small, but like my advice would just be like, if you have the money to pay the application fee, just go for it.
Oh yeah, I had one school that I like YOLO'd, and I was like, oh, maybe like it'd be fun to know. But eventually, overall, safety, reach, and target are what fits you. It's not a blanket like, oh, X university fits into the safety category. It's really what you're like and what you think. Then you have closer to the end of junior year is rec letters from teachers. It's recommended that you get rec letters from 2 different teachers, and kind of like from 2 different subject areas, maybe one you're really proficient in and that you really enjoy, and then one that you maybe don't enjoy as much, or just in another subject. So like humanities and STEM is like a good general rule.
That's the advice that I've gotten. You want to show that you're good at humanities and STEM,
and that you're not a bad student in the things that you don't like.
Yeah.
You want to have a rec letter from a teacher that knows you really well. It doesn't necessarily have to be like an academic junior teacher. Maybe stick with an academic teacher, and then maybe an extracurricular, like a coach that really that you're really passionate in. Like, I think one of my rec letters was a journalism teacher, or Miss Evans. So, because I'm really passionate at that, and I eventually want to go into that, and she could write a good rec on that.
Yeah, so most universities will require at least one recommendation letter from a teacher that taught you, just to sort of get to know who you are as a student from somebody else's perspective. But I think also a lot of universities allow for 2 recommendation letters from teachers, and also some of them allow for letters who aren't even from teachers, like from coaches or like an employer.
Make sure you ask teachers at the end of junior year rather than like the beginning of senior year, because they need to have time to either think about your rec letter or possibly write it. Some teachers may not write it over the summer, but at least they know that you're going to be requesting it in the fall of senior year. So it's not just a huge surprise, because rec letters take time.
Yeah, it can just be like a heads up. Also, one tip is that you want to get a gift for the teacher you're asking a rec from, because letters will take a lot of time and energy to write, and it's just sort of like even something small like a gift card maybe, but like something personal is also really nice for them, just to thank them for the time they're putting in for you.
Definitely something personal rather than maybe like, I mean, I know a few teachers are like no mugs and no Starbucks gift cards, like something that would be really sweet, and that they could hold on to and think of you. What I did was I just wrote, like, I got 2 really big, like, generous sized cards, and I filled the entire side of it with just thank you and like how much I appreciate them. But eventually you'll start thinking of like standardized testing, like the SAT, ACT, and PSAT. Grace, you want to talk about those?
Yeah, sure. So
I'm not the best at testing.
It's fine. One of the more important tests you have to take, besides of course the standard ones, is your PSAT in your junior year counts towards your qualification for the National Merit Scholarship. And so depending on the score you get, I think it's like partially funded by some companies and partially funded by like College Board, and you just get the chance to earn some money for like merit. And so I would recommend studying particularly for your junior year PSAT. Make sure you take your SAT or ACT early, just what I would say. Or like, you also don't even have to take the SAT or ACT junior or senior year. I know some guy who took it in middle school for Duke Tip and used that score. I would just say plan early for your SATs and ACTs and just like study for them as much as you can. Like a bad score is not the end of the world, because a lot of universities now are going test optional too. So if you don't submit a standardized test score, it cannot hurt your application.
Another thing on that is if you're planning on taking a test multiple times, make sure you allow ample time for like taking those tests. Like I remember spring of my junior year, they offered a free ACT at Northview, which I have no idea if they do every year, but I took it spring and then I took it fall. But if you want to take it during the summer, you have that opportunity and a final opportunity in the fall. I know if you plan to apply early, there's like different admissions options that you can apply early or regular. But if you apply early, they offer credential deadlines, and some of those are like maybe mid-October to like December, and you have to make sure that you get your tests in by those dates. You can't take the test like October 1st and then the deadline's October 15th and you're like, oh no, I don't have my test scores. So just making sure that you take the tests within a good time window. So that's going to be our perspectives on how you can prepare for junior year and before applying to college. Now we'll look at some questions submitted by other students. So the first one is, when should I start applying?
I would say start looking at the prompts summer of junior year if they're out already, and I started writing my essays over the summer, and that made it a lot easier on me because I had a large portion of my essays done and I could just like edit them while I was going through like a hectic senior year.
The next question is going to be, how many colleges should I apply to? This is kind of just a you thing. I don't think a number of college is like standard or anything. I know some people that really, really didn't know where they wanted to go and applied to like 20 plus. And then I know people that are just applying to 1 or 2. And another thing is also like application fees. I mean, I think the most expensive one I had was like $85. What about 85?
Mine was like $90, the most expensive one.
But I mean, they rack up. I mean, so really think about like maybe, I guess a standard idea would be like 1 safety, 1 reach, 1 target, depending on like how you want to do it. And it's just apply to wherever. I mean, you can do a YOLO school like I did.
Yeah, like I applied to 10 universities, and even though I already had like most of my essays done by winter break, because the deadlines for most universities is like January 1st, by winter break I was like so over it. I barely wanted to like write any more essays. So for me at least, my limit was like close to 10. And another note, since I was on the topic of like the January deadline, a lot of universities will have an early deadline where you can choose to apply early. So that's like early action. Like, for example, UGA has early action and the deadline was in October. Other early application deadlines are early decision, which is when you bind yourself to a university. Essentially, you're telling that university, if I get in, I will go, which that is a lot of commitment. You have to get like a counselor signature for that. Another type of early application is REA, which is restricted early action. So you can only apply to one private university early action.
And then, of course, regular decision. But yeah. Grace really just touched on that really well. So what's Common App? Common App is going to be the most common, hence the name, platform that colleges use to organize their applications. They're going to have all the questions, all of the deadlines on there, all of the requirements.
Yeah, so aside from what the university is asking from you, there will be one overarching essay, your personal statement, that is a Common App prompt. And also on Common App, you'll usually fill out things like your academics, and you'll be able to write in your activities and awards.
There also might be prompts from colleges that you need to fill out, and I just like to call those supplemental writings, or supplementals. And then what should I focus on? What should I focus my senior year on? I would say just really making sure that you stay on top of those deadlines.
I would say don't take it too hard, because you know you're going to have to be working on those essays on top of all of your schoolwork. And probably just second semester, just like enjoy it. Go on senior trips and like have fun. Make the most of your time.
Don't get senioritis, because you have to submit a second final transcript. So you can't let your grades go totally downhill.
Well, yes, that's true. But like, I would say don't let the pressures of school get to you.
I like that. That's very, very profound. And then the last one is going to be, how do I go about applying for scholarships?
So when it comes to scholarships, to be honest, I really just like Googled like scholarship searcher. And I just found you have to sift through the ones that apply to you, because a lot of them will be like only from a certain demographic.
And some colleges do like automatically consider you for some scholarships, right? And then I know, at least for one of the colleges I'm looking at, they have like a whole system that like you can apply, you can like put in kind of your credentials, like, oh, I'm interested in journalism and I come from like Georgia, and then like you can apply for that.
Yeah, and at least at Northview, the counselors will usually send out emails to your outlets about some scholarship opportunities, so just check those as well.
This concludes the first episode of our 2-episode series on the college application process. Thank you so much for listening. For the transcript of this episode, head to the Point of View tab on our website, nhsmessenger.org, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at NHS Point of View for updates and new episodes. We've been your host, Rachel.
And Grace.
And this has been Point of View.